I'm getting a text to the people that are already looking at logging in. Is the system gonna tell them wait? From there and let me see or wait. Okay. I'm gonna tell them to just wait for a minute, just like Zoom.
At the moment, yeah, it is. It's gonna tell them that you guys aren't live yet.
Okay.
Now, John, can you see?
You can see just a little. Yeah, go ahead. You can see on there.
Now we can you see? I'm gonna send you the link. So I just sent you a link right now. Click on that link so you know what's going on in the live chat.
All of it. All right. I just sent you guys.
So you're gonna be the only one on video right now, John.
I'm gonna be the only one?
Yes. So that's gonna be the camera that, so you guys can sit together, but that's gonna be the camera that's on video right now.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. So I think you might need to sit back and then you just pick the mouth.
You're live, John.
Huh?
You're live.
I'm live?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's only one live video. It's on that phone. What? You on the phone? Yeah, your phone is the live video. Is my phone the live video? Or
Yes. Mm-hmm.
From my phone?
Yes.
I can see. Can we get it on my laptop?
It wasn't working from the laptop.
Yeah, you don't want it from the laptop. Okay. Okay, we're live now, right?
Yes, yes, you are.
And how many people? I'm only seeing Jaden and Jatavia on the live feed.
At the moment, it's 3 people on there.
Well, let's welcome them to Texas College. How are you guys today? If you can see me, we're streaming live from the Office of Admission. My name is Joseph Morrell, and we have several of the office staff with us here today. want to talk to you and try to answer any questions you may have. I'm seeing Jatavia, I'm seeing Kiera, I'm seeing Jaden, and let's see. And I see Jatavia has thrown a question out there. Is that Tutton? Jatavia Tutton? So welcome. Let us talk a little bit about Texas College and what we're doing here today is to offer you an opportunity to do a live chat with us. You guys take the time and write your questions in the chat feed, and we will do our best to answer them. I'm going to start with just some general information about the value of this and why we're doing it, and of course give you the opportunity to fill in. Obviously, if you're here today, it's because you've taken time to think about your future and about where you're going in life and what you're going to do. So for that, you should be applauded. The second thing I would make note is that these are some very difficult times in our country and our world. This pandemic has made us all step back and reflect, and we have done that as well at Texas College. If you've not applied, then I would certainly want to encourage you to go online, and you will see a tab that says Apply Now. If you would, go to that tab, apply, fill in your application and submit it, and it will come to us, and that will create that beginning point or that starting point where we start dialoguing with you via email primarily and telephone as well. We do offer on our own service a video chat that you can do through Microsoft Teams. It works really well. We get to sit down and talk with you at length, normally in 30-minute intervals. We have had a couple to go a little further than that. So if you're interested in that, just email us, and we'll be happy to do that. The second thing I want to talk about is the process of admission. If you have not done it, go online again, click the Apply Now tab, and you'll see the application for admission. You look over to your left, and you'll see some other forms that are pertinent to the admissions process. For example, the housing form, the medical form, the requirements you need in terms of a shot record and the meningitis shot. So you'll see all of those things on that tab to the left, and each of those things will need to be completed as a part of the process. Now, when you see and think ACT and SAT, while we would certainly encourage you to include your score and send it to us, I don't want you to have to worry about the score. The score for us at Texas College, because we're an open admissions institution, it allows the score to be used in a diagnostic sense. In other words, we see where you are, we determine what your needs are using your score, and then we try to craft a plan that works for you. Okay? Oh, my hand is in front of the camera. I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Someone just sent me that little note, and I appreciate it. And so, if you're interested in doing that, we certainly would want you to take advantage of today and go to the site and take care of those particular steps that I mentioned. Why don't I pause here and offer you a chance to write in any questions, and let me introduce and welcome some others. We certainly want to welcome Alicia, Connor Daniel, Jatavia, Kiera, Jatavia, Jaden, Courtney. Welcome, you guys. Courtney is introducing herself via the chat. She is an admissions recruiter and counselor here. So why don't we pause and get some questions from you guys, because I can obviously talk all day, right? and you didn't want to just hear me talk. You probably have some specific questions you want answered. If I don't see any, then I'll continue down the road. When is the deadline? Good question. When is the deadline to apply for housing? While when I mentioned earlier that we're an open enrollment institution, what that means is that our deadlines are longer than those. So, for example, with your housing application, I would think the deadline would be somewhere around August 1st. Remember, the semester starts August 26th. So that gives us about 20-some days to process any lingering paperwork. And I would use that as my housing deadline date. Okay, as a matter of fact, internally, I would probably use August 1st with every deadline. And so, as you may or may not have figured out, this summer, we're going to have a program we call the STEP program, the Summer Enrichment Transitioning Program for high school students. It's an opportunity for that high school student to pick up 12 credit hours in a matter of 6 weeks. And so that is a tremendous opportunity.
Busy. VoiceOver on Chrome. Occupy create your app. Google Chrome window. Inbox. Workspace web now. Chrome busy. VoiceOver off.
Right. I'm getting a feedback. I apologize for that. I think it's at our host end. So I'll try to work around that. I was talking about the STEP program. For high school graduates this year, you can come in beginning June 14th, 15th, and pick up 12 credit hours. In order to participate in that program, first of all, if you've applied for the fall, you're automatically eligible. So we would send you out an email that in fact says, hey, welcome to the program. In order to pay for the program, you would simply go back into financial aid and apply for aid for the year 2019-2020. That would afford you the opportunity to get summer aid that would pick up the cost of those 12 credit hours. And it would not impact your credit hours for the fall or your aid for the fall, because those would be two separate things. Okay? Okay, Jatavia's question. Let's go to that. Her question says, when the papers that were sent in the mail, do we send it back to you guys? If in fact, Jatavia, those papers are not available to submit on the web, then yes, you would simply complete those documents, put them in an envelope, and send them in care of the admissions office. If you give us a call, we'd be certainly willing to work with you to see what those are. I have found working with, probably the last 100 or so students I've been dealing with, that it's a lot easier for them to simply scan it and then email it back to us. That process has turned out to be pretty safe, and it works really well. Great question. Kiara says, if we don't qualify for aid, what is the cost for the STEP program? Okay, Kiara, I'm going to find that out, and I'll give you an answer for that in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Now, remember that cost would be based on last year, because the cost for this year will probably come out on next week. But let me say to you that if you do not qualify for aid, once you have been granted access to the program, then there is the ability to work out a payment arrangement so that you can cover that cost prior to the beginning of the fall semester. And that can be worked out. Okay? Will the campus open back up? Jaden, excellent question, Jaden. The college is currently in discussion with the Board of Trustee members to determine whether or not we're going to go face-to-face or whether we're going to continue online. This summer, we're going to do all courses online. So the STEP program, our summer 1 session, which is currently underway right now, and our summer 2 session, all of those courses will be done online. And then once the decision is made and handed down from the board and the president, we will probably put out on the web if we're going to be face to face or if we're going to be online. If we are face to face, those classes will begin in August, on August 26th. Trenton, good to see you there, Trenton. How do we apply for housing? If you go to that Apply Now stop on our website, you'll see that tab, Apply Now. When you click that Apply Now, look to your left, and you'll see a drop-down list or menu that would afford you as one of those categories to be housing. You will hit that tab, and it'll provide the application for housing. Jaden, we see your name and your question on the thread, and yes, we can get you the band director's information. I'm sure we're going to get a list of all of the questions that are here, and so Jaden, we will follow that up either at some point this afternoon or sometime this weekend and send you the band director's information. Great question, Jaden. What instrument do you play, Jaden? Any other questions out there before we move on? Kiera says, is there a link to view the dorms and see what is and is not allowed? That's an excellent question, Kiera. Let's talk about that for a brief second. There is not an internal video of what you can and cannot have in the dorm, but when you apply for housing, you will get a things to bring list. Now, we'll see about getting that posted on the website. I have talked to several students about that issue, and we've talked about, if you're fortunate enough to know who your roommate is in advance, there are a number of things you can do that would allow you to partner in, and for example, instead of having 2 refrigerators in the room, instead of having 2 microwaves, you may be able to work it out with your roommate if you're that type of person. Now, there are some people who just can't share something, and they much prefer to have their own, so that's a whole different matter. But some of the basic things you see in the college dorm room, microwave, you see obviously the computers or laptops, you see a lot of gaming equipment, of course, you see the refrigerator, the little mini fridges. Those are things that are generally seen in the room, and I'm not getting into the bed linen and those kinds of things, but you will get a list of things to bring from the housing office. Okay, let's see what others. Thank you. Courtney has listed for you the band director's contact information. So, Jaden, if you would take a moment, write that down, and that saves us an email. I really appreciate Courtney jumping in there and sending that. Let's see. Trenton says, how many summer classes we will have? Very good question, Trent. If you are a member of the STEP program, then you're going to have 4 summer classes, or 3 summer classes and a 4-hour course. And so you're going to have 12 credit hours. That's the bottom line of it. And so we would encourage you to look at those emails that are going to come to you, and they're going to spell all of this out. Now, for those of you who are coming into the STEP program now, then you'll get some backdated emails that have already gone out to the 130 some students that have expressed an interest in joining the STEP program. But we will catch you up this week. So this afternoon, everyone on here that says, hey, send me STEP information, we're going to send you that information, and we're going to get you involved because it is a tremendous bargain. Think about it. To pick up 12 hours in 6 weeks That's a normal 16-week semester. So, while the work may be tedious, in the end, it'll certainly be worth it. Connor, has all of his admission and financial aid forms been turned in, and how soon will he know what financial aid he qualifies for? Thank you, Ms. Daniel. That's a great question. Um, when we get off the chat, we will speak to Connor specifically, and we'll send you an email that addresses those things. I can tell you that because you're getting to participate, we do know that your admissions paperwork has begun. We'll double check the financial aid office to see if they've received your ISA and where they are with that. As you may or may not know, this is the first week back for most of us. And so they will probably take 1 to 2 weeks before they'll have their sea legs under them, and you'll start seeing what is called the award letters being sent out from the Office of Financial Aid. That's a great question, Ms. Daniel. Thank you for it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more. For those of you who may not be aware, we talk about the kinds of student life, and we talked about STEP. Let's talk about student life. And if you're into sports, the types of sports programs we have on the campus, obviously football, basketball, men and women. We have track and field, men and women, soccer, men and women, volleyball, women, and I think I've covered them all. But that's also on the website under the athletics webpage. We do offer some small scholarships in that area. So if you're an athlete interested in that, we'd certainly love to send you some additional information as it relates to sport. Now, on the activity side, we have a number of student activities. We have Greek life, Panhellenic life, as it's known on most campuses. We have clubs and organizations on our campus that you can join, and we encourage you to do that because, part of the college experience is involvement, engagement. I hope you guys take this the right way. We're not asking you to come to Texas College and become a nerd. We're asking you to come to Texas College and become a well-rounded individual. That's what those graduate students, that's what those employers, they're looking for well-rounded people. They don't want one-dimensional people. So, if all you're doing is focusing on school, then you're not really embracing and enjoying the college experience. And I would certainly want to encourage that. I do know that we have some parents on the chat with us today, so I want them to hear me say that we encourage the students to live the college experience, to come here, to be focused on graduating. Now, you've done the hard work, you got them past high school, so now it's time for them to take that next step of adulthood, to be responsible and to make those responsible decisions. And part of being that young adult that they're going to be or currently are is in knowing how to stay focused, how to work on getting their diploma, getting their degree, crossing that stage in 4 years, and raising those hands in excitement and joy with that diploma in hand. And you can't do that if all you do is party. And you can't do that if, every time you look up, you're still in bed, you're not attending class. Those things won't work for you. But if you do attend class, if you do remain responsible, and then you still have time to have a good time to party and to enjoy the college experience. They go together, and we certainly want to encourage you to do that. Let's see. Courtney says, hi, Trenton. You're eligible to take up to 6 hours during summer school if you're attending STEP, which is a different program that has 12 hours. Thank you for that, Courtney. Alicia says, do you feel that there will be an opportunity this summer to tutor? That's a great question, Ms. Daniel. That's a great question. we don't know. Tyler, Texas is currently under a modified shelter in place, and they have been reopening different pieces of the city at a time. Well, the college is still on lockdown. And so when in fact that is open, it'll be on the front of the website, and you'll certainly you'll get to know that by monitoring our website. Okay. Um, Trent says, when will a summer class schedule be issued? I'm sure Miss Courtney is monitoring that, Trent, and she'll give you the. As I said earlier, we've already begun summer one, so summer two would begin the same time as STEP, which would be June 14th, 15th. And so the schedule for those summer classes for transfer students will be coming out, will be coming up real soon, and I would suspect early next week. Okay, let me keep going for a second. We were talking about student life, and we were talking about the areas of sports and clubs, and I was talking about engagement. You know, you guys coming and getting involved. And listen, the real great thing about college is that, hey, if you're interested in chess and you don't see a chess club, start one. You know, if you're interested in biophysics, re-engineering of the robots, start one. That's what's great about college. It gives you the opportunity to take the lead, to show leadership in developing those things that there may be many of you that are interested in. I'm reminded of the story of a group of guys who watched First Take and all those sports radio shows, and they were talking to me last semester about starting a talk sports show. I said, hey, we can do that. And all it takes is one person with that idea and that willingness to work. So I would encourage you to think about the types of clubs and organizations that you see at your high schools or you've seen in other experiences. And if you think something that will extend the growth of our students, because that's what, in the area of student life, that's what we're worried about. That's what we're concerned about, that we see our students grow. You know, so if you feel that what you've got in mind will do that, then we would certainly encourage you to go to the Office of Student Activities and talk to them about starting that particular group. Trenton says, when will a summer class schedule be issued? I think we've addressed that. I don't see a current question in the chat, so I'm just going to go down to another area that I want to talk a little bit about, and that is religious life on our campus. I don't know if you are aware of it, but I certainly want to make sure that you're aware that we are a religious-based private institution, and we are not in any way ashamed of the fact that on our campus, you have the ability to pray. Now, what I love about our school is that we're not going to tell you who to pray to. We're not going to tell you what your religion ought to be, but we're certainly going to encourage you to use this opportunity, to use the next 3 or 4 years, whatever your experience will be, to grow in your faith, to grow in your closeness to whomever you serve, and to take full advantage of the freedom to do that is a part of who we are at Texas College. And I think that's also something that we don't do a lot of talking about, but we ought to. And that's because there are a few places in America that allow that ability to openly and unabashedly serve God. And so we encourage you to do that, to find your voice in that regard, to create that relationship so that when you leave Texas College, if you didn't do anything else but grew in your faith, you could be proud of that. And I think will certainly help in your total development. So we want to encourage you to look in those regards. We do chapel once a week. We're not saying that chapel substitutes church, but we do give you the chapel experience. It's a gathering of your class, and it's done once a week, and you, in the end, get a college credit for it. So I strongly encourage you not to miss it, to take that opportunity to reflect and to share the experiences with your peers. Ms. Daniel asked me, we have required convocation. We do have some required convocation. Those are a part of the schedule, and students are told far enough in advance so that there's no chance they can miss it. Chapel is a required opportunity, and they, as I mentioned earlier, they get an academic credit for that. Okay, Ron's question says, can I get into Texas College if I haven't taken my SAT? Ron, yes, you can. You would be required to take a form of a diagnostic exam when you arrive. As I said earlier, we encourage the ACT and SAT. We don't use the score to keep anybody out. We use the score to see where you are and what you might need assistance with. And so it's diagnostic in sense. And so it's one of the other beauties of our school. We're not trying to close the door, we're trying to open that door. Have any other questions out there? I really want to thank everyone that has been a part of our chat thus far. You certainly asked very good questions. I'm really impressed with the questions that you guys have asked, which tells me that you are serious about the educational process. I hope we've done some justice in terms of providing the answer. If you need greater details, as I said earlier, we're going to have it. So we're going to go back and reach back out to you. Jaden just said, what will determine rather if you can get in or not? Okay, if you're talking about admissions, Jaden, the first and major requirement is that you graduate from high school, and that your graduation is certified by the school district. And so you start there. As I mentioned earlier, you do not have to have a set ACT or SAT score. A score is helpful in the sense that it allows us to know where you are. You're required to complete the medical form. If you're going to live on the dorm, you're in the dorm. You're required to take that meningitis shot. That's a state law. You do the housing application. You put copies of your Social Security card on file, and we take copies of that. And that's the extent of those required documents in order to be admitted into the institution. Okay, Ms. Gibson, I see your question. If that's a 504 question, you would simply submit your 504 documents. We have that has been sent to the Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Lisa Taylor. She would then have a review to determine what those needs are and whether or not we could provide it. But we would certainly let you know in very short order that we could meet the requirements that he may have. Okay. Very good question. Ms. Kim Gibson says, will the STEP program GPA be used as the GPA going into the fall? Well, once you establish that GPA, oh, I'm sorry, he's saying it's cutting me in half. I've grown tired holding the phone, right? Uh, once, once you have earned your 12 hours in the STEP program, you will in fact have a GPA, and that GPA will move forward with you. And I'm really glad, Ms. Gibson, that you asked that question, because I was talking to maybe 4 or 5 students virtually this past week, and we were talking about setting the stage with the STEP program. You know, if you could come out of that program with a 4.0 and hold that GPA moving into the fall semester, you're off and running. And that's where you want to be, because as you probably know, the more hours you earn, the harder it is to raise that GPA. So if you can start with an outstanding GPA and maintain it for 1 or 2 semesters, then you're going to find it's easier to maintain as you move forward. And so I would really encourage all of you that are on the chat, and that you're an incoming freshman. If you have not received STEP material, please tell us on the chat so that we can get that out to you today. You need to take advantage of that. As I said earlier, 12 hours in 6 weeks versus 12 hours in 16 weeks. You don't have to be Phi Beta Kappa to know that that's a great deal. And so you ought to, in fact, take advantage of it. Jaden is asking a question that was asked earlier, but I don't mind repeating. We don't know yet if the college campus will open for tours before the fall, but if it does, we're certainly going to post it on the front of the website. And Jaden, I hope we'll be in touch often over the next few weeks, and so we'll certainly be able to share that with you directly. If there are any of the recruiters that are following along the chat, and you can think of something that I may have omitted in the earlier discussion, simply put it in the chat browser, and I don't mind talking to the students about it. For those of you who asked about athletic coaches, we'll certainly get those coaches' names to you directly via email. So rest assured, we're going to do that. Ms. Daniels asked the question, does TC have different meal plans? As a small school, Ms. Daniels, we do not have separate meal plans or individual meal plans. There is a meal plan for all students who live on campus. Now, for those students who live off campus but would like to see a meal or would like to have a meal plan, there is the ability for that off-campus student to come and work with the dining facility to acquire a specific meal plan. I hope that's addressing the question that you're asking. Ron is asking a question about activities in club, and we have just happened to have here today the coordinator of student activities. So I'm going to let him answer that question in just a moment. Let me go ahead and answer Ms. Gibson's question regarding the athletic goal. NCAA and NAIA no longer allow colleges and universities to have specific dorms for athletes. The requirement now is that athletes must be treated just like any other student and therefore are a part of the general population. We do not have specific dorms for athletes. Let me introduce Mr. McDowell, who will talk a little bit about the area of activities that we may have on campus. And then Ms. Gibson, I'll come back to the next question. Hey guys, how are you? Okay, it's gonna be a little difficult as we're working. We're trying to okay, let's do some things here. First, I can't work like this. Let's get this stuff moved here. And these fake glass, got these glass, move this stuff. And so let's try to work a little bit different. All right. So again, I'm Coach Ryan McDowell. I handle all of the student activities here on the campus of Texas College. I'm also the faculty athletic rep, which means I am finalizing and the final say-so for all athletes when we're doing their compliance to get them eligible to participate in NAIA athletics. If Dr. Corral didn't mention, we are NAIA Division I. We participate in the Red River Athletic Conference. We have 10 sports teams: football, volleyball, men and women's basketball, men and women's soccer. Okay, I'm adjusting again, y'all. All right, there we go. Trying to figure out how to light this camera. But again, we have men and women's basketball, men and women's soccer, men and women's track and field, baseball, softball. We did have cross country, but we're working on it again. So, okay, so there are several. Oh wow! They playing with me right now. So there are several areas that we, and I'm dealing with someone else's phone, y'all. Several areas that we participate in our area of student activity. Several events that we participate in and we host, and these things include Student Government Association, all class officers, class kings and queens, academic clubs and organizations, Greek letter clubs and non-Greek letter organizations are all falling under the direction of my office, and that's the Office of Student Activity. We have special events throughout the year. We start the year off with new student orientation, freshman week. Towards the middle of the fall, we have homecoming week. We have special events like Angel Tree giveaway, where we adopt students, just like you see in the mall. All of the holiday events, any holiday, any of those events and programs come through the Office of Student Activities. As well as we have student recruiters that recruit on campus, give tours, etc., as well as travel with recruiters out to help recruit. So there's a lot of things going on. We encourage students to get involved on campus. We know that students that get involved outside of just the classroom are more apt to matriculate from year to year and graduate. So we have a lot of things going on. I'm encouraging you to chime in and ask the questions. I know that I had a question earlier about Greek letter organization. All of the Divine Nine, except for one, is here on campus. We have active membership of all of Divine Nine here on campus. So if you have questions, I encourage you to ask. I should be able to answer any questions covering several areas. What's the question? As long as they're not athletes, because NAIA, NCAA does not allow us to have those type groups. However, Ms. Gibson, however, we do encourage our parents to be involved with activities and different things on campus, so that what we do is send you an email of what's going on. So you will be on our kind of like our email list to get information as to what's going on. Any other questions out there? Y'all just type them and we'll answer them as best possible. Mr. Jones, hazing is illegal and it's a crime punishable by time. So no, Greeks are not allowed to do it hazing. We will not tolerate that. And that again is a crime punishable by time.
My school is taking to fill out my son's AI wait. When is the deadline?
Right now, there's not a set deadline because the NAIA along with the NCAA, Red River Conference are all waiting to make a final decision on sports in the fall. So there's not a deadline right now. Please understand that there's a very limited amount of staff at the NAIA headquarters. So there's a few people doing all NAIA athletics. And you got to remember all of the athletic programs. So it's not a deadline as of. We try to make sure that everything's completed prior to the first game, kickoff of the first game. So continue to reach out to NAIA, but again, understand that there is not really a timeline, but there is a lot of things being held up due to COVID, due to lack of shortage of staff, etc. Yes, there are NAIA requirements qualified for you to please visit the NAIA website and you can find those answers. Top 50% of your class, 2.5 GPA or better, along with a set SAT or ACT, no correction, SAT score. 2 of the 3 areas. You can have be in the top 50% of your class, 2.5 GPA, you're automatically qualified. Or have a set SAT score and top 50% of your class, whatever. 2 of the 3 categories makes you eligible to participate your first year in NAIA athletics.
The first question again, when can I go to campus?
Okay, so we're going to visit this question of when can you visit campus. Right now, campus is closed to other than those 2 staffs that are working. We're not sure yet. Our president, along with the board of trustees and his administrative cabinet, are working diligently, meeting several times a week, trying to come up with the best answer. So we don't know. We have not been given that information, but that is being addressed by Dr. Fennell, the cabinet, and his academic cabinet, and the board of trustees of Texas College. Yes, go ahead. Any other questions, y'all? So again, we encourage students to get involved with organizations, not just the Greek-led organization, academic organizations. We have outstanding groups such as the Texas College Student Ambassadors. That's a group of student leaders that are well-trained. They give tours, they travel with recruiters, they work diligently with the administration, with the recruiting department as they work to travel and work with those students. We have other organizations like Sister to Sister on campus, as well as MOVE, Men of Valor and Excellence. So we have all types of organizations that are not just geared toward Greek letter or athletics or non-Greek organizations. We have academic clubs and different things throughout the college campus that we encourage students to get involved in. Any other? I see we have several students still here as we're doing our best, guys, to make sure that you get all the information and get all your questions answered. Parents, we encourage you, as well as any high school advisors or counselors that are on, to ask questions so that we can get those questions answered for you. So if there are no more questions at this time, I'm going to ask Miss Pickett. She's our lead recruiter here at Texas College to take over. So y'all join us in celebrating and welcome Miss Courtney Pickett here. Hey, Miss Pickett.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Pickett. I am the admissions recruiter here for Texas College. First and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for being here. You could have been anywhere else, but you are here with us on today. And so I wanted to do double remind you of the specific requirements that we do have here at Texas College. Of course, these requirements, they may have some extended deadlines due to the COVID-19 pandemic going on, but I want to just run those requirements by you to ensure you know exactly what we are needing from you. For our freshmen, we need everyone, no matter if you're a freshman, transfer, returning student, we need everyone to complete the admissions application. You can find the admissions application on our Texas College website under Apply Now. The top, one of the top little features or tabs, you can definitely apply for that. And of course, indicate the correct year you want to come in, and the student type that you want to come in for. For freshmen, we do require that you have your official high school transcript. Now, we do know some students assume that the transcript is official just when you print it out, but it is a legal law requirement that you must have graduated before that transcript can be deemed official. So we're asking you to go ahead and contact your high school if you have graduated, or if you're still waiting to graduate, to go ahead and contact the high school to ensure they have you on whatever roster that they are taking down to send your official transcript to Texas College. Because the most important thing is you must have your official transcript on file before you can ever receive federal funding, which is financial aid. Let me see, I have a question. What kind of health care do you have on campus? A nurse clinic, etc., Ms. Gibson. Yes, we do have a student infirmary here on campus. It's built in with the tuition. They do offer small medical medicine for sickness, if you have strep throat, things like that. But if it's something more extenuous or extenuating circumstances, we do have 3 hospitals here in Tyler, which they're more than welcome to go to any of those. But we do have an on-campus nursing clinic that is very versed and staffed with first aid to ensure our students are safe. Does the school offer study abroad programs? At this time, we do not have any study abroad programs, Mr. Jones. But if you come, you definitely can inquire about that and maybe start your own program or through your professor, and maybe they could be something that can go forward in the future. But currently, right now, we do not have any study abroad programs. That's Coach Marco. He's responding. Ms. Hicks, for the STEP program, since the application is online, do we need to print it off and send it to the Office of Admissions? Whichever is perfect for you. If you want to do it online, we prefer you to do it online and go ahead and submit it, because you are able to download that into our system. If you're one of those ones who want to do paper application, perfectly fine. But we do realize that the United States Postal Service has its certain routes, and it could be a delay getting here, and with STEP starting again as little as 16 days, we want to ensure we go ahead and get the quickest way, which is the online application that you can do at texascollege.edu. What programs do you offer in sports medicine? We don't have sports medicine as a major, but that does not deter you from coming to Texas College. We do have business classes. We do have our liberal arts classes. Now, for our STEP program, we do not have that embedded in our STEP, but I will tell you our academic majors. We have biology, business administration, computer science, criminal justice, English, interdisciplinary studies, liberal studies, mathematics, music, religion, social work, sociology, and our associate degree studies, and early childhood education. And those are our list of majors. And of course, look through those on our Texas College website, and of course, read up on them on every discretion. Let's see, for the STEP program, okay, so I think I've read all those questions thus far. It's going back to the requirements. For our freshmen, your application, first and foremost, your official high school transcript. Granted that we are in person, if time comes and that has passed, we will need the bacterial meningitis shot vaccination, proving you have had that in the last 5 years. And of course, after we receive those informations, we can conditionally accept you and then go through making sure your financial aid is taken care of, so that you do have a crisis paid for when the time comes. As a transfer student, again, you must apply for admissions just through our Texas College website, and you must have your official college transcript, and you might have turned in your official high school transcript, but we more so want to focus on the college transcript to see what credits that you are bringing into Texas College. Now, I will just give you a quick note. If you are a transfer student, you must ensure you do not have a balance at your current school, your previous school, before you send the transcript. Because typically, if you have a balance or anything pending at said school, you cannot have an official transcript, nor can you receive federal funding because you still have an unmet need at that said school. So transfer students, just make sure you are in the clear at that specific school, and then send your official college transcript to Texas College. You can see what classes you had, and then your aide can also go forward by indicating that you have been cleared through said school. Let me see. Will you need a coronavirus vaccine to come in the fall? At this point, that has not been determined quite yet. Again, our president, Dr. Fennell, and his cabinet and administration team are meeting weekly to determine what factors we will have to need or take during the fall. But as of right now, that is not anything that has been mentioned to us. But does not mean it will not happen. But just please keep an eye out for anything updated as far as when we open back up, certain specific new documents that will be needed due to the pandemic. We will certainly post those on our Texas College website to ensure you are aware of those changes and can get that in a timely manner to our admission staff so we can make sure you are accepted fully to Texas College. And then lastly, will you post a virtual tour of the school and new dorms? That is something we're currently working on. We're still in the phases since we're a limited staff here at Texas College right now. We're having to work a little bit slower, but that is something that we're in the works of thinking about doing. And of course, we go forward with that possible task, and definitely put it on our website so you can see the dorms and see the campus as you may wish. And then lastly, I wanted to just speak on the importance of checking your financial aid. Typically, of course, you submit the financial application, and then it comes to Texas College, and it must go to our system and then go from there to see what your awards are. But I want to encourage you all to check with the financial aid department either weekly, daily, and just ensure you check with them regularly, because oftentimes than not, you have to submit supporting documentation from things that you indicated on your initial FAFSA application, and we would hate for one piece of paper to hinder you or hold you up from receiving your federal funding. So it's very, very important that you continue to check the FAFSA, our FAFSA department, contact them. I did post the information earlier in regards to their contact information. You can reach them at financialaid@texascollege.edu, or you can reach them at, and I believe the phone number is listed as well. You can reach them on the phone number as well, 903-593-8311, extension 2299. And you'll be able to answer any questions, ask any questions that you may have in regards to your financial aid or pending status, just to make sure you're on the right track to make sure your aid is paid for. Okay? Any more questions? Let's see here. Ms. Houston, hello, Mrs. Allen. Thank you for helping me, Daniel. Yes, Miss Allen was great, great help. So glad she was able to help you and Daniel, Ms. Gibson. And please feel free to ask us more questions. We still have time through this live, and we'll ensure we answer everything that is on your part, just so you are aware of what you need and the steps going forward with our admissions, our STEP program, and for the fall. But the most important thing is to ensure you have an application on file through the Texas College Admissions Office. You can do that at www.texascollege.edu. You can reach myself. I'm one of the admissions recruiters. My name is Courtney B. Pickett. As you see right there, my email is cpickett, CPICKETT, @texascollege.edu. And then you can reach me by my phone at 903 593-8311, extension 2354, and I'll be happy to do what I can, however I can, to ensure you are on the right steps to Eastern Texas College and help you however I can do. So we're going to wait to see. Okay. And there's Coach. He's responding to Ms. Gibson. He says, Ms. Gibson, please request from the high school counselor and send the transcript via T-Rex to us. They will know what we are talking about. And feel free to email jallen@texascollege.edu. And the question Dr. Morales came through, and I was going to go to this. Why do we have to have a physical exam if you're at home?
Do you mean that they're going to live on at home?
Ms. Gibson, are you referring to living on campus, or are you referring to just our entrance or our in-house testing? If you're doing online classes, you have to have a physical exam at all. If you're online solely, at this point we are online, but for right now. But if you decide to open back up in the fall, at that part will be. But right now we are online. Just miss that part. And you're welcome, Ms. Gibson. You just take it back over. I'm going to turn it back over into the hands. I'm turning to the hands of our coach, Coach Marco. He will give you some information, and please feel free to send your questions. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. Thank you very much. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Coach Marco Turnbull. I'm the head men's and women's soccer coach here at Texas College. I recognize a few names that we've been emailing back and forth. Thank you for tuning in. I really, truly appreciate everything. I heard some questions regarding sports. We are working on that. We are a Division I NAIA program. Our athletic program is our Division I NAIA program. If you kind of scroll up a bit, I'll send some contact information for all the coaches. Feel free to email them. We've already notified them. They will be expecting a few questions from you. Coach Moss, I see another question from Ms. Gibson. Where's Coach Moss? Ms. Gibson, if you scroll up, I did send out Coach Moss's email. Please feel free to email him, and I'll be glad to text him a text just to make him aware that there'll be a few people that will be contacting him. As far as the football schedule, Coach Moss will answer all those questions. Feel free to email him. The best way to contact him is to email him. Now, we've had a few conferences with the coaches with regards to the season. And unfortunately, right now, we are all waiting because they are trying to get the best criteria for everybody for safety reasons. As we all know, we want to make sure that primarily all our athletes are safe and that they are comfortable and that the environment we provide makes the parents and everybody else very, very comfortable. If you guys have any questions with regards to me being a coach directly, feel free to email me, and I did send my email on there. Email me directly. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. Any more questions? Please keep them coming. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Morel back up again. I see another question. What are you coach of? Thank you. Ron, I coach soccer. I'm the head men's and women's soccer coach here at Texas College. If you know any soccer players, feel free to send them my way. I'm still open. My roster is still open at the moment. I'm still recruiting for the year coming up. With regards to eligibility, we are in contact with high school. The easiest way is to send your transcript via T-Rex. I know there was a question or two that some high schools are preparing. It'll take about 2 weeks to prepare the transcript. Don't worry about that. The main thing is just communicate with the student counselor, email them right now, and then we usually have a great communication with the high school administrative staff. NAIA, as you know, we play under Division I NAIA, and I won't dwell too long on that. As far as NAIA, they'll only take an electronic transcript that will be sent via electronic media. Okay, they will address all of that. Now, Great question from Roka. Are there sports scholarships? Yes, they are. Like everything else, you have to email that coach directly, and that coach will explain the criteria of how they distribute their athletic scholarship. Now, you have to remember, athletic scholarship in most of the colleges are a combination of your Pell, uh, everything that's included. It's a package. But I would rather not get into that because we have a lot of other people that are not athletes, but it's a great individual question for the coaches. Once again, refer to those emails that are sent and just contact the coaches directly. Do oncoming athletes need physicals before the year starts? Yes, we always request that. Once again, I hate to be repetitive, but I have to. If you contact that coach, once they know when the athletes will be coming back on campus, they'll have all the information, including information that address COVID-19 requirements, so that when you come on campus, all safety areas have been covered. So in the past years, we've always requested a physical. Yes, to answer your question, answer then yes. Yes, that's it. That's a correct email. Coach Moss. I think. Thank you very much, Ms. Pickett. She just resent that. She just resent the email that I sent earlier. Thank you very much. Also, track and field. I did put a contact for track and field. I was asked that question a few minutes ago. Email that coach. He's a great coach. Track and field is usually in the spring, but most of the athletes, as you guys know, most athletes for us coaches, they come in for the STEP program. The STEP program help with eligibility and later on for academic scholarship because it raises your GPA up. And one of the things that we look for now as coaches, we love athletes that are academically sound because one of the reasons you come into school is for you to work on your academics to become somebody. So we love athletes that are very responsible on the education side. They mix up between their college experience and the primary focus, which is their education. Another great question from Ms. Gibson. How will you know if there's a room for student athletes? Once it's determined that we are coming back on campus, we usually submit a roster to our student activity center, which they correspond with the dorm. We love to pair our athletes. That's why we say don't procrastinate. Try to do things early. Once we know the date, once again, we try to put our athletes together per sport. Now, if you are late, we try to accommodate you, but we try our best to make sure that you do have a room with your team. But like I said, you always gotta act early. So the STEP program also help us a lot with that because when athletes apply, it's easier to say to start preparing for the fall or spring. Another great question. How will you know? Okay, when does the STEP program end? July the 24th. It is a 6-week program. Really, I want to say 5 weeks because on that last 6 week, all the exam, all assignments have to be turned in. Make sure that everybody already turned in all their work. Is it on campus? It's online. The STEP program is online. It starts June the 14th to July the 24th. Oh, make sure you've done your 2019 to 2020 FAFSA, by the way, because that's what we looked at. And the schedule will be sent to you. I think will be somewhere biology, I think I'm gonna say English comm, algebra 1, etc., etc. There was a great question. I think I responded via a text. One of the questions was, if you want to study sports medicine, what do you have to do? I have about 6 athletes that are going towards their career path, right? Towards sports medicine. And most of them are taking biology. There's a great lady, Miss Johnson. She advises them on how to go about it. And even when they graduate, whether they're going to do their associates or they're going straight for their bachelor's, she advises them the career path and the GPA they have to maintain, scholarship, schools that do offer that program that are linked to us. So we will put you in the right place as far as that is concerned. Thank you very much, guys. If there's any more questions, feel free to keep sending your questions. I will send you guys over to Dr. Morale in a minute to address
some more questions. Thank you, Dr. Moran.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, gang, I'm back. Okay, let's see. Do we have a question, Ms. Pickett, that we need to address?
Miss Gibson, she said my son's school says transfer.
Oh, yes.
Today,
Okay, I'm addressing Ms. Gibson's question regarding his son graduating in 2 weeks. And he graduates today. But the transcript will not be ready for 2 weeks. Will that prevent him from getting in step? No, it will not. As a matter of fact, we recognize that will be the case with a number of students coming into the semester. And so with these difficult times, we know that nothing will be normal. And so we're going to stretch our policies, stretch our practices on behalf of the student. Now, obviously, when in fact we do get things, if there are issues, then we'll have to address those one-on-one with the student as they arise. But our intent is to operate from the premise that, listen, it will eventually get here. Let's not delay that student from his matriculation to the college. And so we're going to let the student in and worry about the process as the time moves forward. Now, the difference would be, let's give the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is if we would not have that transcript by the end of the STEP program, then you're going to have a problem. And here's what it would be. One, the federal government does not allow us to issue a fee. So that would end up being a pay out of pocket experience. And then the second one would be you could not be allowed back into the school in the fall because you would be required to have submitted that transcript by then. I hope that's not too convoluted an answer, but the idea there is to address the fact, one, you can get in without it. Two, eventually it's needed. And three, if you don't get it, then you cannot use financial aid. And then four, if you don't get it, you will not be allowed back into the college and normally into any other college until you clear the issue of that transfer. Hi, Mr. Mumphrey. I've seen your application. I think I sent you an email the other day. In terms of summer two, the schedule should be listed sometime next week. You will then contact your advisor, create your schedule, and you'll register online. All of that will be done online, and you should be able to do it at some point next week. And it will surely be done prior to June 14, 15 when the semester starts. Mr. Jones' question regarding different requirements for different majors. That's a yes and no answer. Let's break it down into a couple of pieces. The first piece being that every major requires X number of general requirement hours. And normally that's about 45 hours that are required before you even start involving yourself in major courses, which is part of the reason many students change their majors 2 or 3 times before they graduate. So there are some prerequisite courses in some majors. For example, you may have a prerequisite to a chemistry course. And so what I encourage people to do is to go to their degree plan. Those are listed in the catalog. look at the degree plan, and it outlines every semester of your college experience, and in terms of what your academic requirements are. When I was first on, I talked about the portal, learning to navigate that portal. I love to tell this to students because they think the portal is just there for decoration. It's your life at the college. For example, if you learn to navigate that portal, at the end of every semester, you can run what is called a needs analysis. I call it a needs analysis. And it will print out your history at the college. It will have a check mark next to the courses that you have taken care of in your major. And it'll have an X next to the courses you have failed to complete or have not addressed or attempted yet. So all of those things are in your portal. Your portal allows you to talk to your faculty member. Your portal keeps your financial record. Your portal shows your class attendance. Your portal will give you grade history and academic progress. So really, you want to learn how to navigate that portal because it's really important in terms of the information that you'll get from it. Okay, I've been getting in a lot of trouble with this one because I've been saying to students, the key is to fill out the housing application and submit. COVID, to me, is an extenuating circumstance, so don't worry about the fee. Get the form in, get your application in, do all those other things. And if the fee becomes an issue, it'll be at the last moment. Okay? The key is to secure your place. Get in, send your form. No one is going to hammer you about a fee. They're going to want to make sure that you're serious about coming. You've completed your financial aid. If you do those things, we'll wrestle about that fee later. Okay? Okay, the date for fall class registration, Ms. Daniel, will be dictated by whether we're face-to-face or online. Now, what we're wanting to do, at least Dean Roberts has mentioned this to us, is that when you are in the STEP program and we finish with the STEP program and your grades have been posted and we see how you did, then we're going to start working on your registration right away. So the STEP kids, young people, will have a huge advantage because they'll get registered immediately based on how they did in the STEP program. So another reason to get in the STEP program, if I can keep encouraging you to do that, it's a tremendous, tremendous advantage. You guys have been very good. I mean, you come in there now. We've been on for an hour and 18 minutes, and you've been there. Some people have stayed in for the entire time. Some have come on and left us. Tanisha, I don't know if your question was answered regarding when we start STEP, but we do start 14th of June. I'm going to go back when we get off this and make sure that we send you something and get you involved because we want you to be a part of that. Okay, right now I'm being told that we have no more questions at this point. Okay, wait a minute, we just got one.
Question from Ms. Hicks says, where do we go to apply for the dorm on the school site?
Okay, first let me acknowledge Ms. Gibson's comment. let me say to you that we do believe in prayer and we do believe in faith. And I'm excited too for your son growing in his faith. I think that's an awesome responsibility and a tremendous opportunity that's afforded every student at Texas College. And so we want to walk alongside and in his faith journey, and hopefully his involvement here on the campus will allow for that. Thank you for the comment. I want you to also know that Dean Robbins has probably been up all night worrying about whether it would work as well. And so it has worked with a few glitches, but we appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys and to share whatever responses we could to the question. In terms of the dorm, if you go to the site and you click apply now, look to your left, you'll see a drop down menu. And one of the items on the menu is housing application. You can download that application, fill it out, scan it, and send it back to any of us in the office. If you want to send it to me, it would be jmorrell@texascollege.edu. And then we will get it to the housing director so that it can be processed. You guys have been very good with your questions. We really appreciate it. Thank you too, Mr. Jones. Thank you for being on with us. We're going to reach back out to each of you, I promise. And we're going to walk alongside you for the rest of the way until you're part of the TC family. You've taken a big step today because you've expressed the interest. You stuck in there with us, and we too think it's an amazing opportunity, and we look forward to working with you. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Daniels, for your response regarding the answers to your questions. We hope that we at least whet the appetite. If there's more need for details, we certainly want to do it. As we begin to wrap up our session, we've got two new people that have joined the session. Okay, so if you would raise questions, we certainly want to answer them. The question regarding the meal plan from Ms. Gibson, let me say to you that if you live on campus, the meal plan is automatic. You are automatically required to have a meal plan when you live on campus. And I can tell you the food is pretty good. I probably can demonstrate that if I were to show you my gut from going to the cafeteria for breakfast every morning. I go there and visit. I like to encourage the students to go have breakfast. Get up, make your bed, by the way, and then go and start your day. And if you can, just a piece of friendly advice, try to get early morning class. You'd be surprised by getting early morning classes. Your day is over with by 1, 2 o'clock. You can spend 2 or 3 hours just studying and reviewing or preparing for the next day, and still have the rest of the evening to have a good time. So, that was free advice, and I hope somebody will take advantage of that. Okay. Earlier in the broadcast, the speaker mentioned how important it was for you to stay in touch with financial aid. And again, I just want to say this: while we recognize that the office is finally opening back up, and I was I was peeping at the database last night, and there are a lot of people who have their financial aid records have come in. You're going to be hearing from that office over the next 2 weeks, but I would encourage you to work with them. I would encourage you to work with our office to help you navigate them. The key is, of course, seeing how much aid you qualified for. You'll get that in what is called the award letter. You'll get an award letter from that office, and it will outline your aid. It'll say, for example, you've gotten the Pell Grant, which is the federal grant. You've got an SEOG, which is a supplemental equal opportunity grant. You may have a particular scholarship. Let's call it the UNCF scholarship. And let me put a pin right there and say to each of you, regardless of race, if you have not, go online to the United Negro College Fund website and create a student profile. When you do that, you make yourself eligible for any scholarship that your demographics may fit. For example, if you fill one out and you have a need, and Caterpillar Company gives UNCF $50,000 for students with an unmet need. Well, they search their database and they see your name, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get a letter with an award letter of $5,000 from UNCF from the Caterpillar Company. So take the time, go out there today, fill out your profile, and that's regardless of race, because so many students think, for example, that if I'm not Black, I can't qualify for a UNCF scholarship. That is not true. The UNCF scholarship is race neutral. They're looking for students who qualify either academically, unmet need, specific category, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they help all students. So take a moment and go out there and do that, okay? The United Negro College Fund website. And it should probably be uncf.com. Ms. Pickett is probably looking it up as we talk, and she'll post it for you in a minute. But it's an excellent thing you should do. And I don't know if you've done this, but go wherever you're from. There are a lot of scholarship dollars that go untapped because people don't realize that right there in your city, your Chamber of Commerce, your local churches, clubs and organizations, they give scholarship dollars, but good things don't always come to those who wait. For that, you really got to be aggressive. You got to go out there and search and look, and you'll be surprised at what you'll find in terms of scholarship. And so back to that award letter, if in fact you got a scholarship, you would see that posted on that award letter. There's another, the TEG, Texas Equal Opportunity Grant. If you qualified for that, it would be posted on that award letter. So the award letter you get from financial aid is really important, and but it all starts with you submitting your FAFSA, them getting the answer, processing it, and then getting it out to you in terms of an award letter. I probably talked too long about that, but it's really, really important, and I hope you forgive me for that. Tanisha, in terms of the site I was talking about, I think I was talking about the UNCF site, and Ms. Pickett is going to post that site, and she has already done so. It's in the thread. Just go back up, and you'll see. And it's uncf.org, not .com. uncf.org, O-R-G. Okay? Go out there and create yourself a profile. All right? Okay. For those who are new to the chat, I'm being reminded to talk about first how the process starts with that application for admission. And then of course you've got to request your transcript. If you're a transfer student, you've got to get that transcript from every college that you've ever attended. And let me save you this. There are a lot of times students think that, oh, okay, I didn't do well at that junior college, so I'm not going to list that. Unfortunately, when you apply for a school, there's what is called the National Student Defense Loan Program, and it will tell the school, every school that you've been to. So there's no sense leaving it off. You might as well put it on there and let's deal with those. If you're a high school graduate, obviously you got to have that high school transcript, and it's got to document that you in fact graduated, and that'll all be a part of that transcript. Shot record, got to have that meningitis. You got to complete that medical form, and there was some discussion about that earlier, whether or not you're on or off campus. Everyone does that form because you are in fact going to be engaging students when you come to class. So it's important that we have the medical history, your housing application, if you intend to live on campus. And I tell people who are living off campus to do it so that it's eliminated from the question of whether or not you need it. And so those are, if you have your SAT or ACT score, submit that. You might as well let us have it, and it'll eliminate you having to take a diagnostic exam when you get here. Yeah, in terms of the shots needed for the dorm, we've got until August 26th to get that done, and that's assuming we are going to be face to face. So I would say to Ms. Hicks, don't stress about that right now. We're in the last week of May, and things are changing every day. As a matter of fact, our faith calls us to believe that, right? And that in the next week, there'll be some more change. And we're going to be prepared for that change. And when that opportunity affords you to go and get that shot done, you'll be ready. And we'll be ready to accept it. Trust me, we're going to work with our students. We're not going to let anything hinder your dream, okay? You guys are doing great. Someone asked earlier about what kind of healthcare we have on campus. We're still one of those schools that have our own nursing area. They do not dispense prescribed medicine, but they in fact work with the student to get the necessary treatments he or she may need. We have, I don't know if you did the research, but if you did, then you know that Tyler has probably one of the best medical programs in terms of hospital systems and doctors, probably in the world. If you stop and think about it, we've got a teaching hospital. We've got two outstanding hospitals that have some of the best doctors in the country. And so you couldn't, from a health perspective, you couldn't be in a better place for medical treatment than in Tyler, Texas. And I think if you do any research, I'll be proven correct on that. Great question, Ms. Gibson, about COVID-19 care funding for incoming freshmen. As you probably know, in the stimulus, the first stimulus, the CARES Act, there was funding for currently enrolled students. We are prayerful and hopeful that in the final stimulus that appears to be coming, that in fact they will do something to help incoming students. So let's keep our fingers crossed, do some praying, and hopefully you'll see that in that final phase of funding that's being proposed. You guys have done really good. Are there any other questions that we want to address? Yeah. Well, if you don't know it, we have all of the social media pages, so you can find us. Facebook, we have Instagram and Twitter. So that's one way. I would certainly tell you that if you're listed in this thread, we're going to find your application or something about you, because you can expect to hear from us next week individually about where you are in the process, what we think you ought to be doing. Each of you have been assigned to a particular recruiter, and we're excited about going on this journey with you, and to see how we can help to make your transition as smooth as possible. I want to put one last pitch in there for the STEP program. If you're a high school graduate, don't miss out on this opportunity. The STEP program affords a high school graduate the opportunity to pick up 12 credit hours in 6 weeks. Now, normally 12 credit hours would be a 16-week semester, and so they're an intense 5 or 6 weeks. But to think that the end result is 12 credit hours. And so we strongly encourage all of our high school students to get in the STEP program. It's going to be done exclusively online this year. That's new for us too, because normally it's a face-to-face program. But we think that it's well worth the time and investment because it reduces those 45 hours I talked about earlier by 12. And just think, if you were to do that for 2 or 3 summers in a row, you could graduate in 3 years rather than 4 years. And that's another huge advantage to that program that I would encourage you to participate in. So if you have not received an email from us saying, hey, congratulations, you're part of the STEP program, you ought to make sure that you're reaching out to us and that we're getting something out to you. As a matter of fact, there are about 20 students who are going to receive something this afternoon. But if you are not on that list, you need to reach out to us and get on that list, because it's certainly worth it. If you look also on the thread, you'll see that Ms. Pickett has posted our phone number and the extension, and certainly you can send it to our email, and we will get that out to you right away. Ms. Gibson says, how can a student earn scholarship from the school? Okay, on incoming students, they're going to be based upon your transcript. And for example, when we look at your transcript and we see that you have a certain GPA, certain test score, et cetera, you would be automatically eligible for scholarship. So let me just mention a few academic scholarships that are available. If you got a 3.8 GPA, 23 ACT, or 1,060 SAT, you're eligible for the presidential scholarship, which is full tuition. The Dean Scholarship, which is $1,500, 3.5, 21 ACT, or 990 SAT. Honors 3.0, 18 ACT, or 860 SAT. Transfer scholarship for $1,000 per semester if you're transferring with a GPA of at least a 2.7 as an incoming transfer student. So think about that. And if you need more details on those, we'd be happy to provide. Miss Pickett, if you check the thread, Miss Pickett will post the link to the scholarships in a minute. So feel free to copy that and then go through it whenever you have the time. Also, let me say this. If you're interested in a one-on-one virtual video chat, now in this particular chat, we will actually see you and we will actually talk to you and you'll talk back, hopefully. Feel free to email me at, write this down, jmorale, MORALE, at texascollege.edu. And we will send you an invite for your own personal one-on-one video chat, and that would probably take place starting Monday. So just shoot us an email, let us know that's something you want to do, and we'll be glad to jump on there with you. That is done in Microsoft Teams. So go ahead and if you don't have it, download it before the video, and so you'll see when you get the invite, it'll drop right into your email system and allow you to jump on for your own individual chat. Okay, so let's see who's still on. Each of you, do me a favor. Post on the chat your name. Obviously, it'll give us that. Your favorite thing to do. Okay, and your intended mate. Let us see what you're saying. Let's share that with some of us. Okay, Kiara asked a question about how is campus security. Campus security is pretty good, Kiara. We have a gated campus. We have a hired or extended security system. It is a licensed security firm that we've hired to keep our campus safe. That is in addition to our own security that we provide here on campus. Thank you, Ms. Gibson, for that comment. We constantly look to see how we could improve the website. I think what you're going to see in the coming years, more videos, more virtual opportunities. One of the things that Dean Roberts is really big on this week, and has been talking about it incessantly, and that is to make sure that all of the forms are fillable and easy for the student to submit directly back to the office. So you're going to see us do a lot of that. I see that Connor likes fishing and business. Well, Connor, you're going to love the East Texas area for fishing. So look forward to that. Connor, you also said business, so the first question I'm going to ask you when I see you, and I hope we do a video chat, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to open your own business? Are you going to work for someone else? Tell me, if you haven't thought about that, think about that. Obviously, the major will give you the opportunity to learn a lot of theory, but the hands-on application of where the rubber meets the road, those are the experiences that you're going to hopefully bring and experience during your time here. I love to remind business majors that Bill Gates started in a garage. He had an idea. He and a few of his friends. They're all filthy rich today, right? So whatever that idea is, think about it. Kiara loves to shop. Well, Kiara, we got this mall outlet here that has about 100 and some stores in it. You'll love it if you love to shop. I'm an online shopper, Kiara, so I've become an expert in online. I'm trying to avoid the crowds, right? She's interested in early childhood education or criminal justice. Well, look, you got a winner right there. I love to tell the criminal justice majors, you're always going to have a job. Now, the question is, what area of it? So as you think about that, look at, take that deep dive and determine where do you want to fit in the system. Okay, but that's an excellent one. Good luck with that. Ron says he loves to do and draw sketches. Okay, Ron. So you'll fit in the cultural world we have developing here in Tyler. As a matter of fact, there was a scholarship given to students from the 3 colleges and universities here in the city to draw murals on the walls downtown. And so there are all kinds of opportunities to express what you do well. And so I certainly want to encourage you to continue doing that. Matter of fact, once we get to know you, we may figure out a way to get you involved with some of the things we want to do as well. In terms of your business, what I said earlier is the key. Think about what you're going to do for yourself. I want to always encourage entrepreneurship, creating your own business, doing your own thing. I think that's the way to go. And I also like to tell people, when you start thinking about a major or a job, think about something you just thoroughly enjoy. And so therefore getting up and going to it every day will not be drudgery. You talked to Coach Ron earlier. Coach Ron loves students. He loves coaching. So getting up and going to that job every day is exciting for him. Well, that's what I want for all of our students. We want you to enjoy what it is you do, so that life is not a drudge for you, all right? Thanks for sharing that, Ron. I appreciate you guys. Anybody else out there want to share what they're interested in, what their hobby might be? We'd love to see it and talk about it for a few minutes. We're down, I think, to about 10 minutes. And so if there are no more questions, we want to close out. But if there are, we certainly want to address every one of them. Okay, guys, real quickly, listen. Again, I'm Mr. McDowell. I'm in charge of student activities and faculty athletic rep, which will handle all of your athletic complaints. Want to make sure that you guys that are participating in intercollegiate athletics, that you're getting your account ready and completed with NAIA. Make sure that account is being completed. Make sure that you're high school is sending a official copy of your high school diploma with your official graduation date, etc., to NAIA as well as to the college here. We want to make sure that whichever way this thing goes, and if we're on the court or field in the fall, that you are ready to participate. We want to make sure that you guys are getting enrolled in our STEP program, which is our summer enrichment program, to get you ahead, get that GPA up and working. So as the faculty athletic rep, I'm going to be working directly with you guys to make sure that everything is handled when it comes to intercollegiate athletics. Okay? We will have a special week prepared. Oh, I'm a little tired. Okay, so we're going to shift toward the board. All right, everything's good. That's right. There we go. So we want to make sure also that we're getting you guys ready when we come back in the fall. We'll prepare a nice new student orientation week, freshman week, but we want to make sure you guys get involved with our activities. Okay. So we're going to reach out to you guys if you have questions. We encourage you to continue to send those questions in. Even after this virtual tour, if you have questions, give us a call here in the admissions office and we'll get those questions answered for you. But athletes, take care of your business. Reach out to your coaches. Email and text. Communicate with your coaches to make sure everything is taken care of. Make sure you contact the Office of Admissions to make sure all of your admissions requirements have been met and you have everything turned in. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the fall. Take care. Back to you, Dr. Paul. Thanks, Mr. McDowell. We're down to about 8 or 9 minutes. Okay. My son is still undecided. Can you help with that? Yeah. Why don't we schedule your son for that one-on-one? That way we can do a deep dive into the things that are still keeping him in the undecided category. So if you would send us an email or at J Morrell, MORALE, at texascollege.edu. We will set up for Monday a one-on-one video chat that we could take a deep dive and see what those issues may be to help finalize the fact that Texas College is the place to be. Okay? Yeah, I can someone do that for me? Yes, Ron, that's an excellent point. I'm sorry about that. I can't, but someone will do it for me in just a second. I'm doing that from the phone. Okay, she did it. I can tell you in response to the question about the intense Texas heat, we do recognize that, and so you'll see the coaches modify their practice schedules based on where the temperature is going to be. You'll either see it in early morning or you'll see it in late evening. But we do not expose the students to what can sometimes be the brutal heat of Texas. Excellent question, Ms. Gibson. So, okay, for those of you that may be new to the chat, we want to welcome you to Texas College. We want to remind you to go to the website and click on the tab or the button you see that says Apply Now. And everything you need to know in terms of the requirements, they're right there. Everything you need to do in terms of the drop-down screen is right there. So take advantage of that. Get that done today. and we would love to work with you to conclude your application. We mentioned earlier, and I want to do it as our time is running out. I want to remind you that we will work with you, but you also have to stay engaged until you get here. We want to contact that financial aid office. Make sure that you've done your financial aid for fall 2021. If you're interested in STEP and you've not done that, go back in and do a financial aid application for 1920. That will cover the cost of the STEP program. Again, if you think you're not going to qualify as a part of your opportunity to come, you can certainly work out arrangements to pay for that in cash. The emails you'll get will discuss costs individually with a person, and that's based on your award that you receive from financial aid. We really want to encourage our high school graduates to take advantage of the STEP program to earn those 12 credit hours this summer. And to enter the fall having already established that 4.0 GPA. I think it'll do it automatically. Mm-hmm. Ms. Gibson, thank you for visiting. As we get ready to shut down, I wish all of you would join me in a virtual prayer for this experience and for all of you as participants. We would ask that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to thank you for this opportunity. To bless our institution we call Texas College. To bless these young people and parents as they begin the journey of matriculating to a college and university. Bless their efforts. Give them the strength of perseverance, the opportunity to move forward in their lives, understanding that through faith, all things are possible. We want to thank the recruiters who have extended themselves in order to make this happen. We certainly want to recognize and thank and ask for your blessing on our Dean of Enrollment, Mr. John Roberts, on our President, Dr. Dwight Fennell, on the faculty and staff and students who work with these young people on a daily basis. We have so much to be grateful for, even in the midst of this pandemic. And so we encourage the joy that is bountiful and available from you as we move forward with this experience with our young people. These things we ask for in your name. Amen. Thanks to all of you. Thank you for coming.
You keep bringing it up.